Okay, so I'm just gonna say this handout does have types of sets, like different scenarios. I'm gonna refrain from sticking to types, and I'm just gonna focus on let's fill in the information and put it in the right place and take it from there, okay? Because I feel like over time when I do the types, everybody's kind of like figuring out what type is this on my study sheet, and everybody's kind of like panicking, and like you don't have to worry about the type as long as you put everything where it belongs. And then you have to figure out basically, do I need the middle? You have to do some work there. If the middle is given, it's actually fairly straightforward, right? If the middle is given, it's just like work your way out and fill in what is unknown. So my approach every time is I start with my Venn diagram. I might have to do some math on the side. I use pi a lot. When the middle isn't given, I use pi, that formula, a lot. But if I do know the middle, I just subtract and just work out, okay? So full disclaimer, don't worry so much about the types. So I'll do various ones today, and then I'm going to give you some class time to work on. There are some trickier ones that come your way. Not to be scared of, just be aware of, like, there could be different scenarios, okay? So let's do example 2 together. There are nuances that you need to make sure you highlight and you make note of, otherwise you might get stuck on a test, right? So each member of a sports club plays at least one squash, racquetball, or tennis. When it says at least, okay, that right there, it's saying this, that everybody is going to be in either squash or racquetball or tennis, okay? When it says that. It could be that someone is in 2 or someone is in all 3, but it's at least in one of them. There's nobody that's outside of the sets that are created, which tells us that there are no outliers, okay? That's what this is saying. So, so this is the number. We don't know what it is yet. It's question mark, but there are no outliers. Right? Because of the word at least. Or the 2 words there that make up at least. Okay, so that's what we're after here. So the universal is going to be everything in those sets. There are no outliers. Okay, so we don't have to worry about them. So here we have tennis and racquetball, and there's also squash. So I'm just going to start with my diagram. Universal, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to start with tennis over here. I do know the number outside. It says tennis, not tennis only. Tennis goes out there. 11 play tennis and racquetball. How should I do this? I'm going to follow this. Tennis, racquetball, and squash. It doesn't matter if yours is turned a different way. It really doesn't. I just have to be careful when I mark yours. We know that 11 play tennis and racquetball. So between these two, that number right there that would talk about this region is 11. Okay, so at the very least, you should have been able to fill in these numbers. 7 play tennis and squash. So 7 is right here. 6 play squash and racquetball. So the 6 goes here. And it's talking about the whole intersection, okay, between these two sets, right? 84 play racquetball or tennis. What is that saying right there? It's a little tight here, but it's actually saying this. Number of racquetball or tennis, that would be the proper notation there. Okay. Let's keep that in our pockets for now. We don't know where to put that number. Right? It's not just one single region. So let's leave that. 68 plays squash or tennis. So that's saying squash or tennis is 68. So let's keep that in our back pockets for now. 4, play all 3. You know where that is. That is the middle. Okay, let's make sure we know the notation. That's squash and racquetball and tennis is 4. Okay, that is the middle. And let's say you're looking back at this in June sometime to study, right? That's our middle. Next thing you know, it's going to be the end of the semester. I'm telling you guys. 11. So now let's fill in the rest, okay? So we can fill in this region here. That's just 11 minus 4. That is 7. I'm going to use a red pen for what I'm filling in. I like to, when I look back, it's like, what did I start with? What did I add? Okay. So this is 7. You go around. 7 minus 4 is 3. Right? 6 minus 4 is 2. Boom. Then you want to fill in these other sections here. You can't do it here because you don't know how many are in racquetball. You can't do this one. You don't know how many are in squash, right? But you can solve this one here. We're just going to go, and I have room. I'll show my work. 43 minus 3 minus 4 minus 7. Okay. And I think I posted the answer key, but I cannot find the answer key right now for the life of me. So that's 40, all right, 36, is it 29? Okay, 29. And now what? Now you need to see what else is there because you're kind of stuck. And that's where I'm going to use this one here. The OR. For a moment, you have to zoom into just those two sets, the union of those. R and T are right here. So imagine, if you will, that's why I love highlighters with this unit. Okay, you kind of want to imagine, okay, that you're combining those two sets, and everything that's in there is supposed to add up to what? 84. Okay. So how will you go about it? I will do this right here. I'll go 84. And here's where you do you, whatever works for you. You can start subtracting all these little numbers, or just take 43 in one chunk. You know that that's 43, right? That's 43 means literally this whole circle here. So if that is gone, right, you gotta have a big thumb like me. And then you take away this little 2 here. Okay. And what is that? 39? Yeah. Okay. Can you now figure out this? Yes, right? Because now all you need to do is add up everything that's inside R, that circle. So we've got 39, that's 41, 45, 52. Correct? I just want to make sure you're awake. So otherwise, I have nightmares. Go back to COVID in my basement, right? So next, let's take this one that was kind of weird. Where did that come from, right? So the union of S or T, that's these two. And maybe you're going to be like, nope, that's too messy for me. I'm not going to do the highlighting. That is okay. But my key actually had this probably. And so you know the union between these two is supposed to add up to 68. If you were to add up everything in those two, it's 68. So I'll just go 68, okay, minus, you got to be careful. You take all of these numbers away, which really add up to 43 if you did it right. And this 2 also needs to be taken away. You basically want to take everything away to just be left with this section here. And that's 25, 23. Thank you. Appreciate that. So it's these numbers. So now you have a number for every section. Now you can do this part here. And basically you're just going to add up everything that's inside this circle that I'm going around right here. Okay, so 23, 25, 29, 32. There you go. I don't have the key in front of me, so if I make a mistake, please let me know. So this would be a fully loaded Venn diagram, but we're missing the final answer. It's asking how many members are there. Okay, one's universal. So in this case, honestly, just add up every section if you'd like, or cover one of them up. So let's say you cover this is 43 plus, and then it usually ends up being, right, these three numbers here as well. Plus 39, plus 2, plus 23. Anybody brave enough to give me that answer? What? 107? Yeah. Actually, that rings a bell. 107. So 107 in total. How you do it, I don't care. You can add every single number if you prefer to do that. If the thumb doesn't work for you, that method, just add everything up, just be careful, and just come up with the 107. So there's 107 members. And we could answer it because we were told there are no outliers. That is the key here. If they give you the total, or if it's percentage, always check if there is an outlier. Always check. If you should be able to check if they give you the total. In this case, they didn't. How's that? Okay? All right. So this one down here is very similar. It has the or in there where two sets are combined. So I'm going to skip that for now. You can check the key. I'm going to go and do one that's a bit more challenging. So I was thinking, example 5 on page 28. Okay, don't worry about the type on top, that title, don't worry about it. Let's just, sports club has found that 95 of its members played at least one football, tennis, badminton. And so because of this, there are no outliers. Don't get too comfy with that. That's not always gonna, sorry, you can't see that. That's not always gonna be the case. But if it does say that, then that's a bonus, okay? So football, tennis, badminton. Football, tennis, badminton. Universal is 95. They tell you that, so that's good. 36 played football. If it just says that, there's no only, right, then it actually means the number outside here. That would be everybody in that circle. 28 played tennis, and the 51 played badminton. So there we go. 5 played both football and tennis. So football and tennis, where is that? That's right up here. And that would be here. So the 5 goes outside. 8 played tennis and badminton. And 10 played football and badminton. So these two here. This is 10 and this is 8. Sorry, I forgot that. That's it. That's all the information I have. I was able to put that in. And you notice that the middle is missing, right? Let's put an X there. I like to put X equals. You'll figure that out in a bit. And it's asking you how many played all 3, right? It's asking for that. So you're going to need to find out regardless of how you approach this. So let's go ahead and do that. Middle is missing, so A, middle. If you want proper notation, it would be in this case, football meets tennis meets badminton. Okay? We want to know what that is. There we go. So let's go and solve that. So pi is calling, right, use principle of inclusion exclusion. So I'm going to go n of u minus outliers, that's what it's calling for, would be all sets so you add up all the sets, I'll go all around, and then we subtract all the intersections. So be n of, let's make sure we get this right, f and t. That's this one right here. And then over here is an intersection between b and t. Mr. Dixon, do I need to do this every time? No. You don't need to write this out. But I need you to be comfortable with it, just in case. Minus this intersection here, BF. And then, so you subtract all the intersections, and then you add the middle, this one right here. So I'm just going to go plus x, because I've already indicated that that's x. So NU minus outliers, we just go 95, right? Do you want me to do this? If that's okay. I'm going to go minus 0 because we have no outliers. And then it's 36 plus 28 plus 51. So I go all around on the outside. Minus the intersections would be 5, minus 8, minus 10. Plus x. And now just clean it up. So 36, 28, and 51, that adds up, and then subtracting these three numbers, that would give you 92. Notice that it's a plus x there, and that's supposed to be like that. Minus 92. Okay, so 95 minus 92, that's just 3. Okay, so 3 members played all 3 sports. 3 played all 3. So now it strongly suggests, I'm usually going to ask you to go and fill out your Venn diagram. Okay, so let's go back up and fill in the rest. If this is 3, then this must be 2, because we're told the intersection is 5. This would be 7. This would be 5. So I always subtract it from the intersection to get that. This, I'm just going to give you the answer at this point, because I think you should know at this point that I just go 36 and subtract these from it. This is 18. Again, I go 28 minus 2 minus 3 minus 5. Okay. Over here, you've got 36, because I just subtract, I go 51 and I subtract these 3 from 51 to get 36. And now I can answer anything that I'm being asked to do. Okay, so what's B asking for? How many played exactly 2 sports? Where is that found? 8 would not be correct. Right? You want to pick the 5, the 2, and the 7. These sections right here, they only play 2 sports. They don't have anything to do with, I always get football, for example, right? So the 5, the 2, and the 7. So I'm actually going to show that here. What is it that you're adding up? Okay. And so that's 14 players. If you need to grab a highlighter, why not? So I'm just going to highlight this whole thing orange, and then you know, okay, that's where I grabbed those numbers from. C how many played only football? Where is that found? It's right there, the 24, not the 36, right? Just these 24, they're only playing football. So it's 24 players. And D, let me zoom out a little bit. I like to have the diagram. D, how many played football but not tennis? Let's do notation. Football but not tennis. So this is football right here. And so you just kind of you have to get rid of this section from 36. So 36 minus 5 would work. So basically, as long as they're not also playing tennis, you can go 24 and 7. Regardless of how you do it, you get the same answer. Okay, so you don't want, so football but not tennis. So it's 24 and 7. There, so that's what, 31? Players. I'll do one more, and then you'll be on your own. You get some class time to work, and I'll come around, because you are going to have some issues every once in a while. Maybe not, you'll prove me wrong, but if you do, we'll address it when we get to it. So come with me to 29. And I'll make a change. I ran through that one again. I'll make a slight change to it. $29. On page 29, you go to this bullet where it says 4 children have only a dog and a cat. I'm going to change that. I'm going to cross that off completely just to add a bit of a layer to it. I'd say 5 children have a dog and a cat. That's it. Everything else stays the same. All right, so task number 1 right now is to read this, make your Venn diagrams, and see where the numbers go. So I'll leave you, you can discuss with your partner, make a Venn diagram, because that's the trickiest part. Where do the numbers go? Read it, make your Venn diagram, use a pencil, of course, and don't solve just yet. Down just yet. So 28. Have a dog, a cat, or a bird. And that is honestly just saying dog or cat or bird, okay? And it's actually, I'm going to be a bit more specific, but there are no outliers in this case either, okay? No outliers. Okay? So 28, so universal is 28. 13 have a dog. 13 have a cat, and 13 have a bird. So hopefully you got that right. 5 children have a dog and a cat. So the 5 goes out here, right? It's dog and a cat, so it's this section. 3 only have a dog and a bird. Dog and bird. The 3, where does it go? Because of the word only, it actually goes in here. It's almost like it's saying 3 children have a dog and a bird, but they do not have a cat. That's what it's saying. But not a cat. Maybe write that down. That's another way. Two children only have a cat and a bird, so the 2 actually goes in here. So notice how this one is outside and these other ones made it into the diagram. Okay? So this is basically saying only have a cat and a bird, but not a dog. I gotta get my sets right. So emphasis on the only, right? No child has 2 of each type of pet. They have to say that so that there's no repeats. Remember sets, you can't have repeats. Okay? And then let's get this started. Is the middle given? No. So let's put an X there. We'll figure out what that is. Now, pi needs the intersections, guys. Pi needs the intersections. What would the intersection be of this? 2 plus x, right? Would you agree with that? 2 plus x. This is already 5. I don't need anything here. This whole thing is 5, so perfect. What about this intersection? 3 plus x. Now let's use pi to find the middle. Okay? So it's just 28 is equal to 13 plus 13 plus 13. So you add up all the numbers outside each set minus, what are we going to do? Minus 5 minus, got to be careful here, 3 plus x minus 2 plus x. All right, so these are all the intersections that I'm subtracting. And what needs to happen at the very end? Plus x, plus the middle. Yeah. And now let's clean it up. Okay, so 28, 13, that's 39, minus 5, that's 34. And here you have to be careful. I'm going to use a different color. What happens to a negative in front of the bracket? It distributes. It affects everything in there. So it is like saying minus 3 minus x. And then this also distributes here. Minus 2 minus x. And what about this last one? This is just a plus x, just trailing, right? Yeah, don't forget about it. Because something cool is about to happen there. I'm sure you can see it already. Minus x plus x, that's just 0, right? So you can actually cancel these two, and that is most likely going to happen when you do one of these. And so now if you think about it, there's just numbers and just one x right there. And so just clean it up even more. So 34 minus 3, that's 31. Minus 2, that's 29. Minus x. And we subtract 29 on both sides. That leaves you with negative 1. You got to be careful with your signs. Okay, some students just want to make it be positive. But if you can't, then you're in trouble actually. Now we divide by negative 1. And so x is just 1. Okay. So one child, so if you want to answer the question, right, has all 3 pets. Okay. And now we can go back to our Venn diagram and just fill in the unknown regions. Okay. So 1 goes in here. That tells me that this is 4, right? 13 minus 3, that's 10. Minus 5, that's 5. 13 minus 5 and minus 2, so that's 6. And 13 minus 2 minus 1 minus 3, that's 7. So when in doubt, make sure, right? 13. Do if I take this circle, right, for the birds, does that add up to 13, right? You got to ask yourself that. Another thing I can already warn you about is that sometimes you do this and you get a decimal. You made a mistake. You got to go back and fix this. It will always be a whole number, okay? So there are no decimals, so you're not supposed to divide by 2 or anything like that, nothing weird like that, okay? So we've answered A, and notice that this is just part of my, like the Venn diagram always goes hand in hand with showing your work. B, so this was actually A here, right, this part, and then we're just going to answer B. How many children only have one pet? So that'd be the 5, the 6, and the 7. That's 18. Not sure if you need highlight. If you need to highlight, you go for it. I know it's not here, but what if the question said, how many children do not have a cat? Not a cat. Remember, that's actually a complement. So you would literally just take cats away from your, and whatever remains, those are the children without a cat. Even the outliers, if they had been outliers, right? So that's how you go with it. Maybe one last check, right? If this adds up to 13, 13 and 6, 19, 21, and 28, you get your universal. That's probably worth doing on a quiz or on a test, right? Just to make sure, does it all add up? Okay. All right, what I'm going to say here is, let me just check. So pages 20, 25 all the way to 29, that's obviously, we've done already a lot of them. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? So that'd be for sure number 1, get comfortable with those. And then when you're ready to move on, I would say you should all try to move on today. I have those questions here. Hold on. This is going to take you back a few pages, but they are there. 43 to 46. Those are the ones that I really want you to try. This is all mixed up. Various cases. So that's your task today. I will try to look for the key before I circulate so that if you'd rather check the key, you can do that, okay? All right? If you have questions, ask. Don't be shy.